And I want to talk this is just a quickie about the Pledge of Allegiance. And you maybe have heard me talk about the Pledge of Allegiance on previous podcasts, which I think is a ridiculous custom in America. And now in Iowa, they've passed a bill. The governor signed it, that they're going to require the Pledge of Allegiance in schools, and they're going to require that every school show the U.S. flag and the Iowa state flag every day for grades 1 through 12. Now, people can opt out if it violates their religious beliefs. Students would not be required to recite the pledge because they can't do that because that's a violation of the First Amendment. But why? Why this nationalism? I mean, this to me, some people get really fired up about the Pledge of Allegiance, and I get it. I guess if you're a veteran, and you're patriotic, and you believe in your nation, um, especially conservatives tend to be a lot more aligned with the Pledge of Allegiance and this whole idea of nationalism and patriotism. But if you really break down the words to the Pledge of Allegiance, I would suggest that it's an anti-American idea. I mean, let's take for a moment here. The Pledge of Allegiance was written by a socialist who teamed up with a company that was selling American flags. And their goal was to get the American flag sold into all of the public schools. This is in the early part of the 20th century. And then this Pledge of Allegiance came with it. And it got a lot of the nationalist patriotic movement behind it. So it has sort of the motivation itself isn't necessarily pure on the first place. But break down the words to this. I pledge allegiance. Okay, right away, pledging allegiance means that you are subservient to someone higher or to some entity before you. Pledging allegiance is the opposite of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is the opposite of the American value of freedom. I pledge allegiance to the flag. Like, why would you pledge allegiance to a flag? Well, people say, well, it's because it's representative of our nation. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag and the United States of America. See, they're asking school children to pledge allegiance, to pledge loyalty to their nation. I mean, this sounds like something, from Germany in the 1930s. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, and then under God, which was slipped in the 1950s, which makes you question, like, which God? And there are people that aren't religious, and that's where there's some violation of religion kind of gets involved here. One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, parts of it I like. I mean, liberty and justice for all, I like that. That's a nice ideal to aspire towards. We've made a lot of progress. We have a lot of work to do. Indivisible, well, right now, we're going in the other direction. People are talking about national divorce. But just the whole concept of pledging allegiance, to me, is the wrong thing to teach children. Now, if I had my way, if you had to have some form of a nationalist message for school children, what they should do is the preamble to the Declaration of Independence, because it's way better. And let me read that one to you. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, that is the American ideal. Those are American values. And granted, when they wrote the Declaration of Independence, slavery existed. Even some of the signers had slaves. I get that. But the idea is right. The philosophy is right. And over time, we fought a civil war over slavery. 99% of slavery has been abolished. And the remaining 1%, people are working to abolish that. Women have the right to vote. There's all kinds of progress for LGBTQ and a lot of other, Black civil rights. I mean, there's been huge progress over the years, and we're still not there yet. We're still not at the finish line. We have a lot of work to do. But compare that of pledging allegiance to something as opposed to saying, I have a right to my own life, my own liberty, and my own pursuit of happiness. diametrically different ideas that are being presented here. And so I don't know. I just think the whole concept of getting all the school children up in the middle of the morning and pledging allegiance is a part of the way schools are used to indoctrinate the youth. And I don't think that's really healthy. I mean, I don't necessarily believe we should be forcing them to recite the preamble to the Declaration of Independence either. But I do believe that that message is far better than the Pledge of Allegiance. But here in Iowa, they're going to require it. And there's many other parts of America, particularly conservative parts of America, that believe that. I mean, what do you think? Should the Pledge of Allegiance be required? It hasn't always been that way. And, the one nation under God, I mean, we can debate the under God part or not. But just in general, I mean, is this the right moral framework we should be teaching our kids? I'm not sure it is. I mean, if this is a nation, land of the free and home of the brave, which is in the Star Spangled Banner and the national anthem, land of the free and home of the brave does not align with pledging allegiance to the state. So I think that's a really bad idea that Iowa is considering. Okay, let's